think we all know this feeling a little too well. If I'm being honest, I'd probably put money on the fact that 95% of you watching this have never read a single terms of service agreement ever. But you should make an exception for TikTok. TikTok has had their fair share of data scandals just like the rest of social media companies, but there have been much harsher accusations due to TikTok's connection with a very powerful Asian government that may or may not require all companies in that country to share data with said government. That being said, it's time to uncover the secrets within TikTok's terms of service. The first section is the general terms of service, and 4 paragraphs down, there's an all-caps description of an arbitration notice, which, assuming you're like me, just sounds like some legal BS, so I've done the research to figure out what this whole section means. And to sum it up, users cannot bring class action lawsuits against TikTok. Instead, users must settle disputes through a mandatory binding arbitration, which is basically just a privatized form of court. After a quick Google search, it seems like these arbitration clauses tend to favor the side of the company in a dispute, as many mandatory arbitrations have fees that make it pretty difficult for users to financially justify settling with large companies. Although I don't think this clause is solely done by TikTok, as many big tech companies like Uber, Microsoft, and Meta still use them. However, companies like Google and Amazon have eliminated their mandatory arbitration agreements after employee walkouts, and, this is kind of funny, a massive influx of pending arbitration demands from Amazon Echo users made it more practical for Amazon to get sued rather than arbitration settlements. Now hopefully with all that out of the way, we can get to the juicy stuff. Users should know that just by using TikTok or any of their related services implies the acceptance of the terms of service. So once you're on the app, you have agreed to whatever the terms entail. One of those things is TikTok's right to disable any user account at any time. This probably isn't unique to TikTok, as I'm sure many platforms like YouTube, Twitter, Facebook all likely include this in their terms of service because it allows platforms to remove people without really giving an explanation or reason. But that's a whole nother discussion. Next up, there's a list of 23 things you may not do if you use TikTok. Here's the few that I thought were interesting. 1, there's the basic things like no discrimination, harassment, spreading malware, doxing or defamatory content, no adult videos, threats, and of course any material that, through the sole discretion of TikTok, is objectionable, which is literally anything. 2, there's some things on this list that I thought were a little odd to say the least. Apparently making any comments or opinions that you are not properly licensed or qualified to provide is against terms of service. Impersonation of any person or entity, which I guess means that needs to be banned immediately. And supposedly using automated scripts or code to collect information is also against TOS, which that one just seems a little ironic if you ask me. 3rd, this one kind of confuses me a little bit, and I'm kind of wondering whether I'm actually interpreting this right, but apparently people are not supposed to use TikTok to advertise or perform any commercial solicitation. And on top of that, there cannot be any communication between creators and advertisers without the expressed written consent of TikTok. This one I do find just a little bit weird because isn't that what like 90% of TikTok's creators do to make money on the platform? Yeah, I'm pretty sure TikTok does have its own sort of like brand deal connection thing between companies and creators, so maybe this isn't as odd as I thought, but this whole section just seems a little weird to me because it feels like the whole what not to do section basically incorporates everything that's posted on TikTok, and clearly they aren't enforcing all these rules. And as if that list of what you can't do wasn't enough, right under it they state TikTok reserves the right to remove or disable access to content at any time. And right under that, it says TikTok's automated systems analyze your content, including emails, which is one of those things I don't think many people would expect a social platform to have access to. And if it has access to emails, I mean, surely it has access to plenty of other files on your device, so just something to look out for. It says the data analysis happens when the content is sent, received, and stored, which I'm assuming implies that all content, including emails, are stored by TikTok, which doesn't really surprise me at this point. All this data is then used for tailored ads and other standard data usage tactics. Under Section 6, Intellectual Property Rights, the only thing said is, and I quote, "We respect intellectual property rights and ask you to do the same," end quote. Literally one paragraph later, TikTok states, "You acknowledge and agree that we may generate revenues or otherwise increase our value from your use of TikTok, including through the sale of advertising, sponsorships, promotions, usage data and gifts, and excluding some exceptions, you will have no right to share in any such revenue, goodwill, or value whatsoever." I think this can best be explained with the TikTok commercials and ads that were featuring popular TikToks from users who supposedly did not know that their videos were being used, and of course did not receive any compensation, which, as stated above, is entirely covered by the terms of service. Once again, the terms bring up monetizing user content, saying, you have no right to receive any income from user content or your use of any musical works, audio clips, etc. You are also prohibited from exercising any rights to monetize or obtain consideration from any user content within TikTok or on any third-party service, which I think means that you cannot claim monetization for TikTok videos that have been posted on platforms like YouTube or Instagram, which I would assume just means videos with the TikTok watermark on the video, but I'm not 100% sure. Alright, let's take a break for a second to enjoy the fact that there's a capitalization error in this document. I just thought that was funny. Now, back to how TikTok is invading your privacy. Further down in the terms of service, since a lot of this stuff is pretty repetitive, they try to slip in an odd paragraph that states, if your content breaches the terms of service, you will be liable to us and indemnify us for any breach. Now, I don't know if this is some sneaky, terms of service word choice or my lack of care for learning the English language, but I've never once heard the word indemnify. It turns out that it basically means you have to compensate or pay for any damages that you cause to TikTok. I'm not sure if this has ever actually happened to any TikTok creators, but I'm sure if it ever did, it would be quite the nightmare for everyone involved. It then goes back to what the users own in their copyrighted content. Basically, it says that your content is copyrighted from everybody but TikTok, which has, and I quote, unconditional, irrevocable, non-exclusive, royalty-free, fully transferable, perpetual worldwide license to use, modify, oh my god, never mind. They can do whatever they want with your content, your name, image, and likeness, all royalty-free, which means without paying you. Unless you're under the age of 18, then they have to pay you. That's a joke, I think. By posting user content, you waive rights to prior inspection or approval of any marketing or promotional materials. You also waive any and all rights of privacy, publicity, or any other rights of a similar nature in connection to your content. You also waive any and all moral rights, which is your rights to prevent change or distortion of the content. Either way, you are waiving a lot of rights in this paragraph, and I feel like a TikTok user might not have any rights left after reading this thing. Granted, the waiver of these rights is only applied to people who post on TikTok, so I think if you just watch content, you should be able to keep your rights until later on in the terms of service. I'm sure they'll take them at some point. TikTok also has the right to disclose your identity to any third party who claims content violates their intellectual property rights, which I'm sure can't possibly be abused in any way by any third party, if you know what I mean. Also, they forgot a space here. As for the following sections, it can basically be summarized as anything that happens to you and is even remotely related to TikTok in any manner is not TikTok's fault. Blah blah blah. We get it. Don't eat Tide Pods. I would like to take a moment to thank this video's sponsor. These back-to-back missing spaces. Holy shit, did nobody proofread this thing before posting it? Anyways, now on to cookies. In case you don't know what cookies are and just click accept cookies on every website, cookies are personal data that is stored by an app or a website. It's basically your search history, and it's used to tailor each individual's experience on the internet. Most of these cookies are interconnected within all apps and browsers on a device, so one app's trash is another app's treasure. From what it says, TikTok uses the cookies for these main reasons: giving users personalized content, identifying users' devices to prevent fraudulent access and activity that violates the terms of service, optimizing device performance, personalized ads, and ad performance data. It does say that you can opt out of personalized ads in the TikTok app, which I'd probably recommend doing because I can only assume it will save you money considering the ads won't be as relevant to you. TikTok also has a cookies list for all their partners that provide analytics and help advertisers, which is like 22 other privacy policies, and as much as I would just love to read them all, I have a life. Next up is the TikTok privacy policy. It starts with its privacy policy for users under the age of 13. It says that information collected on users is far less than that of users 13 and up, and they also have a more limited app experience. They can make videos on TikTok, but they can't share them. TikTok also does not save these videos. They cannot message or have their profiles viewed by other users. TikTok also does not sell the information of the younger users to third parties, which, I'm not gonna lie, only made me think, do they sell the information of older users to third parties? I'll let you know when I get there. Now, for the unprotected, responsible adults, aged 13 and up. TikTok collects information from apps like Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, etc. Behavioral information about your use of TikTok sounds a little sketchy. Info contained in messages sent through TikTok, and info from your contacts if you give TikTok access. I'd recommend you don't. They store the info given to them directly by users, such as registration info, user content, we talked about that already, payment info, and any info shared through participation in challenges, sweepstakes, or contests. TikTok will also collect info about you from other users and publicly available sources. And this is where the information collection gets a little bit creepy in my opinion. All the information automatically collected by TikTok will be on screen if you want to read it, but there are a few big ones that I want to point out. Starting with keystroke patterns or rhythms. That one's an interesting one because this type of information can easily be used to gain external password information, credit card info, what websites you're looking up, and just about any other concerns you can think of. Let's just say if TikTok were to be hacked or its data were to be leaked, you'd probably just have to change your identity. They can also associate you with info collected from other devices other than those used to log into TikTok, which, from what I understand, it seems like they can use the information they've collected on you to figure out if you're using a device that isn't logged into your account. Take that with a grain of salt though. Approximate location data is automatically collected, and precise location data can be collected with permission. Alright, for real, just don't let them do that. TikTok also collects biometric identifiers and information, which is data generated by automatic measurements of a person's biological characteristics. This includes fingerprints, voice prints, face prints, or any other data points used to automatically recognize an individual. That's just a little too much tracking for my liking. I can't really think of a logical, non-malicious reason for TikTok to collect that much data about their users. I checked to see if other social medias store biometric information, and it turns out Facebook and Instagram were sued for storing biometric identifiers used to recognize people in photos and videos. Facebook has since shut down the facial recognition system they used. Snapchat also ran into a similar issue, and as far as I know, does not collect biometric data. It's getting to the point where a lot of the information in the terms of service are simply just repeating things that I've already gone over. So I'm going to try to inform you of new information only. But you know what isn't new? These damn typos. I am pleased to say that TikTok does not sell the personal information of its older users. Emphasis on the word personal because the younger user's privacy policy just said information. So I'm going to assume TikTok does sell non-personal information, whatever that is. TikTok does share your information with service providers and business partners and within their corporate group. They do claim that TikTok may disclose any of the info collected to respond to government inquiries. Also, I'm noticing that California seems to have the strictest privacy laws because there are like 5 sections that are specifically made only for California residents. I guess paying $2 more per gallon of gas really does have its perks. There's a massive section on all the open source software used that I can't imagine anyone has ever read. It literally just says the same thing like 60 times with different links and copyright statutes. I know there was already some info about IP rights, but this section goes into a little more depth. TikTok follows standard copyright infringement policies, including fair use. Copyrighted content may be removed by TikTok, and the account may be suspended or terminated. If an account is terminated, TikTok has the right to refuse a person from opening a new account. And specifically in the European Union, users are allowed to use copyrighted material if it's for criticism or parody. And TikTok's trademark infringement pretty much just says, as long as you don't claim to be associated with a trademark, you're good. The final section is basically a tutorial for law enforcement officers to request user data for legal reasons. There's really only one thing to point out here. TikTok will notify a user before disclosing their data to law enforcement, unless it would jeopardize an investigation or put the user at risk. If you've made it this far into the video, you're actually a legend, and congrats for not having the attention span of the average TikTok user. Make sure to share this video with your favorite TikTok creators so they know their livelihood can be taken away at any time without reason. Appreciate you all, and stay soft.